Dean, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Where are you joining us from?
So we are based in the northeast suburbs of Philadelphia. I say Philly, but we're not in Philly. We're in the suburbs north of there.
Well, I'll be out your way in a couple of weeks. Maybe we can grab a coffee.
That would be awesome.
Well, Dean, tell me a little about yourself and what's brought you to where you are right now and maybe what you're focused on currently.
Yeah, sure. So currently I serve as the CEO of a company called Engage. That's with an I. I love when we do a transcription in AI and it spells it like it should, right? So Engage is an interactive software platform. So we make interactive presentations. I think about the problem in sales a lot of times is engaging your customer. And what we do is we help primarily home improvement, home services is our target market. So we've niched down into that industry where they're having a kitchen table conversation. And if you think about it, that kitchen table conversation is really important for gaining confidence in the buyer to see you as a solution for their problem. And we help them with the content in that conversation. So super interactive, little things like always offline, so that if they go to someone's house and they don't have Wi-Fi, they can actually use it and convert. But we also provide all the tools to make it easy for IT to ensure people have what they need, and then sales leadership to understand how that content's being used in the field. Kind of a wayward path that I got to this startup world, worked in corporate America for years, big companies, Oracle, Palm, if you remember the Palm and the Palm Pilot, and then Apple, and then decided to take a flyer on a startup. And here I am 9 years later building a company.
Well, that's amazing, Dean. I was looking at your background, very technical in terms of what you've been doing previously. And now you pivoted that to helping on the sales side, which is communication and interpersonal interaction. How has
Yep.
that transformation worked for you? Has it been pretty natural or has it been some challenges?
What's interesting, my first job ever was as a teacher. So I was used to trying to explain things to middle school students. So like I joined then in the sales world, got into tech, and I was the field sales engineer. So I was the nerd on the sales team that helped distill down and boil down all the complex things for executives. And I think that has served me well in moving into leadership in this because I think I have that ability to take complex things and simplify them and make decisions based on a lot of inputs. So I think that's really helped serve in what I'm doing now in leading a company. Never imagined this would be the path to where I am, but it's I think those skills of being an educator and then educating people about technical things and then taking that technical knowledge. And I would say I'm more of a technical founder, technical CEO than the true business side of things, but obviously learned a lot about business along the way.
That's amazing, Dean. So it sounds like it's a full circle, really, from
Yeah,
education to technology to coming back to helping educate with technology.
that's
That's a
right.
great path. So we'd like to talk about AI in your space and really for your customers and what you're seeing. How have you internally been thinking about AI and what is your view on that as a tool for your own organization?
Yeah, we have the belief that if you're not using AI, you are falling behind. So in every function across the team, you can imagine certain things were automatic, right? So we were paying a company to answer our phones for us. That's now AI.
Yeah.
We have our support agent, so we use Intercom, and we have real live support people. We want to see how much of that support can be handled by an AI agent to give Zach, our main support person, as much time back as possible to do the higher level, higher impact human based support. So, like two very simple examples of just taking solutions that were in place that were humans and putting AI in their place. But we don't believe that it's simply to replace our team. Like, I love our team, and I do not think that we're going to downsize the company in order to just replace them with a bunch of AI agents. But what I do want people to do is to look at everything they do and say, how could I be more effective with AI? How could I do higher value work, leveraging AI to do simple chat, or I could build an agent to do some of those things. So we're looking at it literally in every team that we have, whether it's sales, where we're scoring every call and ensuring the sales rep gets a scorecard based on a model that we've created to rate their calls. Our SDR team, same thing, looking at where their gaps are in terms of knowledge. Our customer experience team doing information, looking at their calls as well. So every aspect of it has some AI lean, and the more we do, the more high value work our humans can do.
Absolutely. And so I know a big piece of it is if you can increase that top line, like the revenue in is getting bigger, but your internal costs stay the same. Obviously, your margin just is better and empowers you as a software company to do more for your customers.
That's right. I mean, the if we can continue to grow our revenue while keeping the team size the same and making them more impactful, it's great for the P&L, right? It's
Yeah.
really good for all of the financial metrics. And I believe that's totally possible. And innovating internally with AI is one part. The other part is looking at our product and understanding where can AI help accelerate value for the customer. Like you look at it, I think the easy thing is, oh, let me plug in a LLM in order to write text for someone. Like, sure, we did that, but we're looking at it more from a where can I add more value without increasing the cost of the customer? We actually got some really good feedback from one of our customers last week. They said, we really like that you're not nickel and diming us on new features all the time, that you keep adding value and keeping the price the same and really understanding what you're good at. So to me, I don't want to add a bunch of AI automation things in the product if it doesn't actually support the value we're already creating for the customer.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. I think about how too many times, especially some of the publicly traded companies, are just going after any type of top line revenue is what I want, and so they start expanding into areas they're not as good at, or they start
Yeah.
increasing their billable cost. To your point, that hey, you added a module, you're gonna want it. Let's get some more money from you. It's a great model of you stay core focused on your benefit and keep making that benefit better. So as you think about that, when you go to your clients, where do you see AI starting to show up in what you're doing with your clients, like in terms of what you offer them?
Yeah. So our platform is a content creation platform, and we need to figure out ways to help them create the most impactful content that helps their sales process. It's one of our core missions in life is to ensure that people who are using our platform have the content that helps them convert sales. Because if we're not helping them convert sales, they're not going to use our stuff. So how can we're looking at all aspects of that. So one of the things that we've created is when you create new content with our platform, you want to make sure it's on brand. Well, how do you get that brand into our system? We've created a bit of technology that leverages AI in order to look at their website, which they've probably spent considerable amount of money building. We understand what their brand is. We understand what their logo is. We present it to them and we say, "Is this it?" And they get the chance to confirm. Much more efficient than upload your logos, upload your color scheme, up like because they've already done that
Yeah.
work on their website. So a very simple example of how do we enable our platform with AI that's more than just help me write a heading for this page in my presentation, which is awesome. But how can we look at things that exist in the world already and shortcut their time to value with our platform in creating new content? So, brand is one very simple example of that. The outline of their presentation, new pages within the presentation. There's a lot of tools out there that will build you a new presentation. There's tons of them. That's not what we want to be. We think that the great sales teams out there are using the same content over and over and over because it builds confidence within that sales team. Confident salespeople create confident customers because when you sell something that you're confident in, you build trust with the person you're selling it to. So if we can provide tools within our platform that make that content incredible based on information we have from how it's presented, those are the types of things we're thinking about too to add more value within the content and how it's being generated within our platform.
That makes perfect sense. So it kind of sounds like you have some informal guidelines for how AI and technologies apply to your products. Would you say that's similar on the inside too? It sounds like there's things like we're not firing people. The purpose is not to replace a human. The purpose is let the human,
Yeah.
work on the more engaging pieces. So it sounds like you have some good structure to when you would want to apply it either customer facing or internally.
Yeah, we're trying, right? I think things are happening so fast. Like, I would love to sit here and tell you that, you know what, Mark, we have it all figured out. Here's the framework we use, and anyone who says that, hey, good on you if that's how you're operating right now. I think things are moving so quickly. We actually had a great conversation in our leadership team meeting today of what is our plan to continuously up level the team, right? We know that this is ever changing. So to say that we're going to do it this way today and tomorrow and forever it's insane. We need to ensure that we are one meeting the people where they are. Like I'm a nerd at heart. For me to sit down with Claude Code and Vibe Code a new dashboard, which I did, by the way, over the
Okay.
weekend, totally fine. I can't expect a person in one of my teams, and I won't call anybody out internally, but like I can't expect everyone to have that level of curiosity, that level of understanding, that level of stick to itiveness to actually go through and understand when it's failing and not work. I need to meet people where they are. So as we think about AI internally, it's very, very simple. What are the needs of the business? What skills do our people have today? And what are the current tools that are available that we can enable them with so that their skill set can be maximized with those tools? I can't expect everyone to jump into Claude Code, but I may expect a certain portion of our team to work with Claude Cowork. And I may expect others to be able to use Manus or others to be able to use a different tool. Like for example, we have Notion internally as our knowledge management system. Well, we still don't have everyone with the Notion master prompt installed in their environment because we know some people are struggling with it. It's all over the place. So meeting people where they are, super important, and giving them the tools that allow them to do something within their skill set, that's the second thing that we're focused on.
That makes a lot of sense, Dean. What I'm kind of hearing you say is it's not necessarily skills-based training, but person-based training. To your point, meet them where they are, and they might not be ready for the same skill level
That's
as
right.
in their role, even as the person at the next desk.
The other thing that we've done is so we had an intern that worked for us the last couple years, and he's an incredible young man. He did software development for us through his last couple years of college, and he graduated last spring. And he was really having a hard time finding a junior coding position somewhere. The market for junior software developers is at risk at this
Yes.
point in time because so much of the junior work can be done through AI. So we brought him on as a consultant because we saw a vision internally to build workflows that help our team because we know our team doesn't have those skills. So he's been on board for 4 months. We're going to bring him on full time with the idea that he can now do that higher level work, that more complicated work to knit together workflows with AI. Whereas I don't expect our team to do that. But what I do expect our team to be able to do is say, boy, wouldn't it be amazing if when a customer signed, I could do these 5 things and connect these 3 systems to automate this thing so that their first run experience is that much better on the product? I don't expect customer experience to be able to do that, but I do expect Nico to be able to knit those ideas together and execute that for them. So we're trying to invest at all levels of the organization to kind of build that AI maturity ladder from chat to agent to automation to really think through where people really should exist on the ladder and then support them with other people on that AI maturity ladder as well.
Well, it's interesting because you're also focused on a space. I think it was Elon who said something around the jobs that the last replace the ones that move physical molecules from point A to point B, right? So
Yeah,
home repair, really good example. You got to actually move things, tear things down, build things for real in real life. So you're working with an industry that will be some of the last, maybe in Elon's view at least, to be at risk. Um, but what is their appetite for bringing your products or even AI specifically in any way to the table, both for their training, because you talked about your team that's a technology organization might have different levels of skill, but they work in tech. What are you
that's right.
finding when you interact with your customers who are not really tech savvy necessarily? Is there more resistance or is that being well accepted?
It's a it's a fantastic question because I think we've been successful in this niche because what we're replacing is very non-technical things. So a lot of people, even today, that what we're replacing with a beautiful, interactive, professional presentation is a flip book that's stained by
Yeah.
coffee and barely held
Yeah.
together. Like literally, we go into companies and that's what they're still using at the kitchen table. But here's the problem: that sales rep's been doing that for 10 years. So to say, okay, now we're going to take your flip book away, we're going to give you an iPad with this beautiful interactive sales presentation. And by the way, we're going to track every tap swipe that you do and know exactly how you go through it. To say
Yeah.
there's resistance is understating. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much resistance. However, if I can prove to that salesperson or that sales team that I'm going to get you a 5-point increase in your close rate, that I'm going to get you a 10-point increase on your deal size, now they're going to pay attention. So you have to tie these projects to actual metrics and ROI. And at the end of the day, time to money. And when they can see the money flowing into their paycheck, they'll be more apt to adopt what you've put in front of them. It's hard. It's change management at its best.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it sounds like that's a piece of what you have to bake into your sales strategy is that
Yes,
change, not just a great tool that demonstrates value, but get them to buy in. Because to your point, you're getting them to say yes to this. And usually I'm sure you're selling to the owners or general managers and they love the
right.
idea, but they've got to get their salespeople to use it.
Yeah, because there's nothing worse than the GM or the owner saying, "Hey, we have to do this," and the sales reps up, what are you talking about? Like, I
My book is
I
working
closed
just
at
fine.
42% today. I don't need, it's definitely a conversation worth having. I actually think so many, I'll take it up a level. I think
Yeah,
so many people who buy technology in general buy it with this aspiration in mind, but never really think about the true ROI that they're trying to receive from the technology. I always say you need to have a KPI that's being increased or decreased. Maybe it's, we're decreasing something by adding technology in. If that metric doesn't move or you don't have a metric tied to the thing that you're hiring it to do, it's like any other employee. You're hiring technology to do a job. You need to have a performance review, you need to have KPIs. Most people don't think that way about software. They're on the golf course and they hear their friends talking about this great thing they deployed and they're like, "Hey, Jim, go get more of this." And you're like, "Oh my gosh, we need to have real metrics around everything."
absolutely agree. I think it's interesting because a lot of my career has been doing work with enterprise. So Apple, Microsoft, those kinds of companies. And to your point, the very top level, as we come in to work on something, there'll be KPIs and ROIs. But the minute you get like two levels down, no one has any idea. They're just being told to use it. Right. And
That's right.
so it's really frustrating. Now you scale that out to these folks that work with their hands and just trying to have a personal relationship. And they definitely aren't hearing the value. So
Yeah. The other you mentioned, the install of things, that one of Elon's things. I actually think sales is still going to be a very personal, person to person, whether it's virtual or in person. I think sales is going to be one of the last surviving things in this world where you still need people to communicate. You still need people to help build that trust. Now, there's technology that can enable it, but I still think there's a lot to the person to person relationship.
couldn't agree more. We've done some work in the senior living space, really healthcare, right? And that's the problem is the more you automate to try to carve out human costs, you further put them in this silo of loneliness, right? You're pulling away that connection. So
Yeah,
gotta find a way that we get to connect with other humans, but maybe not
that's right.
do some of the work we don't want to. So you mentioned, for example, it sounded like you were using some AI for inbound call answering, and I'm
Mhm.
sure some of those are sales opportunities. Are you finding it's handling it for you well right now to make sure those aren't lost? Or are you getting some pushback from customers?
We took the approach that when the phone rings, we say, "This is the AI voice assistant for Engage to help you route properly." So we debated it internally. Do Some people wouldn't even notice it's AI, but we went with the approach of we're gonna let them know it's AI and they always have an out to get to a human. Like, that was our approach. We haven't seen any drop off we've actually seen much better connect rates with our sales team because the old IVR system relied on the person on the other end to push the right button to get to the right person. And this is a lot more intelligent in order to take a couple, do a couple discovery questions to make sure they get to, is it going to be our inside sales team or our outside sales team or our finance team or whoever really needs to talk to that? Because it could be a sales related question, but it's billing. So let's shortcut that and get it to finance. Or it could be a tech support question, even though they say they want to talk to sales, they really need to talk to tech support. So the AI has really helped us up the level of customer service because we can do some more qualification than press zero, press one, press like it's much more interactive.
And they say whatever they want. And you just got to train the AI to understand some of the edge cases, which is not
Yeah.
that difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dean, that's a great deep dive in where you've been looking at in the marketplace for yourself and your clients. Anything else you want to share with the audience today?
But I'll go back to that AI maturity ladder. Everyone's going to be at their own place on the ladder, and ensuring you meet your team where they are and don't expect too much out of the gate, and also self reflect to say, like I have to do this a lot because I will dive into a new piece of technology. I love change. I thrive in change. Not everyone does. So just know that everyone's not you. I don't know if we all have to be reminded of that every once in a while, but I know I do. And think about that maturity. Is it just chat? Is it simply chat and writing emails and helping with copywriting? Or can you build some agents to actually do things for you and return value? And then can you build workflows and automate things? Those three levels I think are really important to understand, and where each of your team members falls and where their skill sets lie.
It's a little off topic, but with your technical background, obviously vibe coding this last weekend. So what are your thoughts on OpenClaw? You're getting ready to deploy that as one of the agents internally, or is that going to be
Not yet.
downstream? Yeah,
Not yet. Not yet. I'm
I'm
pretty
worried about the
cautious
risks.
about all this stuff. I vibe coded and connected something to HubSpot. And when I went through and looked at that, I'm like, okay, it's read only. Nothing's writing. I'm not trusted. You can read all you want and present data to me in a dashboard. Totally fine. Let me, press pause before I say, okay, and now go update that deal. Not happening yet.
Exactly. Agreed. Agreed. Well, thank you, Dean, for the time today. It's a great conversation.
Mark, I appreciate it.